Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Friday, basically the weekend. I got some really good feedback from you guys from the last video, so I decided to make a new one. This one's going to talk about a little bit deeper on emotional outlets. So I know they're not really talked about in school, and I never really found people talking about them very often, but they're a way that I found to live life a little easier and more effectively if I don't have to worry about emotions sort of like dragging me down and bringing me into the depths of sadness and despair. I wanted to shed some light on this topic and maybe help someone like you like deal with these emotions like better, and in the hopes that like there are just so many problems on day-to-day life, and if I don't have a good outlet for this kind of stuff like sadness or frustration or anger, elation, and there's just a lot, the list goes on, and if I don't have a good way of handling these thoughts and emotions that come up on a day-to-day, then I'm not going to be real successful. Like, I have to have some good outlets, whether that's some exercise or some way of journaling. I'm going to kind of dive into a couple of them, some positive ones and some negative ones, because emotions, really, it's like a boiling teapot, right? We keep filling it up with emotions, and it's going to keep boiling, and eventually that teapot's going to explode, and we're going to have a bad time. So it's important to get the emotions out in a healthy way. So some first examples that I can think of, and probably I'll start with the most powerful way I've found of dealing with emotions, and I'll just give it to you right now. It's the gym. It is going, it's lifting weights, it's doing something hard, it's doing something heavy, and it's doing it for at least 30 minutes. You might have or find a better way to deal with emotions than that's also physical. I would say a physical outlet is a great way to deal with emotions. Is it swimming? Is it tennis? Is it dancing? It could be like more like creative outlet. It could be running. A lot of people like to run. I like walking, but runners, I think they call it, what is it, runner's high? I've heard of that. It's something physical, right? So it's really a good way. It kind of puts everything that's on my mind out there. I can kind of focus and direct my energy toward that thing that I'm thinking about, and it kind of transfers it in, and I get stronger as a result for it, and I kind of build my mental fortitude as well, because I'm pushing myself to the limit, and I'm going to continue to push myself in other aspects of life. Another good way to handle negative emotions and a positive outlet would be meditation, focusing on the breath. Sometimes I like to listen like to the ear kind of drums ringing. I don't know if you've ever done that, but focusing on the breath in and out, but also listening to the ringing in the ears. It's a great way to still the mind and imagine thoughts and emotions as if they're little like baby clouds just kind of floating on by, and don't need to pay too much attention to it. It's a nice little cloud, and then it just moves along, and then you're back to focusing on almost like not focusing on anything. Meditation is kind of like almost like a weird paradigm. It's not thinking about nothing, but it's thinking about stillness and quiet and just observing and being present. It's like a presence of mind. So it's a really powerful way, sitting in silence like that. Another way I found that's really helpful if I've got a lot on my mind is journaling. Write it down, put it out there, right? I have a lot of stuff going on, and if I just write it all down, it makes it more clear like what the heck's going on, and sometimes while I'm thinking about these things, journaling, I'll actually come up with some solutions for the thing that's bothering me. So like I might have a problem with a friend, or someone said something to me, or I felt hurt because of what they said, or I can't get sleep because this weird thing happened today, and it just happened, and it's right there, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna write it down and put it out there, and by the end of it, I'm thinking, hey, what can I do about this next time? What might I want to do? What's a good, better way to handle this type of situation? What's the solution for something that happens like this? I can't just let these things keep happening. And it's great, I'll figure it out, and that way I don't necessarily have to think about it again. I can always go back to the journal if I want to and find out what the heck happened. And it's amazing the growth that I've made from like 10, 15 years ago, just to see all the crazy stuff I used to write. But another good way a positive way of handling emotions is talking to a friend or a family member, kind of venting. If I have a good friend and they are truly my friend, they won't mind talking with me, shooting bouncing ideas off of each other, right? We have a good bond, and that through the bond we're able to find a good happy medium. And like if I say some random stuff to my friend, and it's not just like a one-way conversation, like they might have something else good to add on to it, or they have their own kind of story that they have to they say, and it's like, oh wow, I never really thought of it that way. It's a great way to get stuff out there and not bottle it up and really suffer in the long run, because it's not healthy to keep these emotions, and they can really lash out in a bad way. I'm sure you've experienced that. Another good way is maybe like cleaning or organizing or fixing something, doing laundry, vacuuming, doing the dishes, right? It's like a good dopamine kick, right? It's like, oh man, I just got that done. I'm gonna go do something else. It's just kind of like a snowball effect. It's good momentum, and who wants to be dirty or unorganized? It's awful. So that's another way. It's almost like a neutral way to kind of cope with emotions. And now I'm going to move on to talking about some of the negative outlets. And I don't mean to call them negative in a bad sense. I mean to call them like almost like time stoppers. They are outlets, and they're not necessarily bad, but they don't really like contribute or help in the end. Like the end result isn't great. And so I'll start with video games. Video games have been a big part of my life since I was young, and since the advent of consoles and modern computers. So I think at one point in my life when I was like maybe 18 or 19, I was playing like 6 to 12 hours a day and not working, and it was insane. It was actually insane. I wasn't even that good at games, and it didn't make me any money, so it's like I was really just being a complete bum. And it was like a net neutral. Like you go in, you have all your energy, it tanks all your dopamine, and at the end of the day, after you're done playing, you go to sleep, and you're like, what the heck did I do today? Like, this is so pointless. Like, and it was like a reward for something that I didn't even do. It was like kind of feeding yourself ice cream all day. It's like, it's so unhealthy. And I do think that like maybe like an hour or two, if you play video games and like maybe with some friends, it can be good. You kind of just blow off some steam. It's pretty low key, and I'm not going in there addicted and trying to play every second of my life. And so I would say video games are a negative outlet because they don't help my life in the end, especially in larger doses of video games, if you could call it like a drug. And that leads me to my next point: drugs and alcohol. Drugs and alcohol, they're bad. They're negative. They're negative outlets. They can be used like for like celebration once in a great while, right? Like weed or drinking a beer, right? I mean, it's just another way of coping with all of the crap that happened during the day. I go home, I got yelled at, something bad happened, I got some bad news. All right, I'm gonna drink a bunch of alcohol, and then I'm gonna smoke some weed, and then boom, you've just numbed the heck out of your brain, and you've just dosed yourself up, and it's really just like a poison, mind poison. and then after it fades, like after the come down, and then it's the next day, and it's like, oh, what the heck happened yesterday? It's like it almost, you forget, and then it comes back, and then it's bad, and it's like, oh, what the heck? And then it's a vicious cycle, right? If I do it again, then I'm just ignoring it and avoiding it. So all I want to say with drugs and alcohol and video games is that they're avoiding the emotions and not facing them head on. It's kind of like, it works, but it's kind of like weak, right? It can, you can kick the can, you can push everything back as far as you want to. You don't have to deal with anything if you don't want to. You can just live your life like that. But for me, it's and for you, it's having a choice to change that thing. So I'm either changing the thing, the problem, or fixing it, or I'm choosing that to be a part of my life. So that's what I will say about those negative outlets. And so all in all, I hope I've helped you maybe discover some healthy outlets. And I think you probably have to find for yourself what's going to work best. Because I had to find for myself, and there's no like book on life, you know. They have the Bible, but I would say that's more like spiritual, almost like on the same lines as meditation and prayer. I think prayer can be very powerful. And I'm not talking smack about the Bible, but it's not a book on life. It's not how to live life. It's a book on finding mental clarity. And I don't think there's a good resource out there, as far as I can tell, for like how to like live life and pay taxes and bills and deal with torment and the rigmarole of life and the ups and downs and how to handle friends and social prowess. And there's just so much to it, and then I don't think it really could be summed up quite easily. If you know of a book or a resource out there like how to live life, I would love to hear that. Or if you have a good outlet that you found over your life that you like to use, let me know. I'm always it's almost like a tool, right? Like I just want to add another tool to my repertoire to be able to handle life in a better, smoother capacity. So thank you for tuning in. This is episode 2. Maybe there's more, who knows? So I hope you have a great Friday and a rest of your weekend.